I think it's pretty easy to acknowledge at this point. The playoff talks, arguments, all of that are really starting to wear thin on most people. Hell, on a recent live stream, I even said that unless there was new things that came up or more detail to it, it really didn't matter to talk much about it. Well, we do have more details, and I think we have more discussion around it too again heading into the championship week. If NASCAR didn't want it to overshadow the championship, much of the year it has. But this comes from Jordan Bianchi and his appearance on Door Bumper Clear this week. And he was very coy with going into detail that he really didn't know much of and didn't want to speculate too much on. But hey, I'm a YouTuber. That's what I'm for. So they were kind of pressing him a little bit about what's going to be going on with that and a little bit of hinting at different stuff. And Bianchi did leave a really good nugget of information for us to talk about. And I think we can talk a lot about this, especially after what Kevin Harvick kind of added to it in Happy Hour earlier today. And a big part of this is the options. There are 3 options from the sound of it that NASCAR still has on the table. Now, maybe there is secret options they don't know about, but it sounds like we are down to the end game of the discussions and they can go on a little longer. Now, I will say this. They're probably going to be talking about this internally in November and December, right? It's probably going to be that. Bianchi has said probably the middle to end in January would be when they would announce it, which lines up perfectly with what they've done in the past. I've been saying this for months. Now we have a verifiable source that has information on it that's told us that. So expect it probably at the, I would assume, last week of January, honestly. I would totally expect this to be like Tuesday, January 27th, if I had to guess on a specific date. But the 3 options are this, and they're the most talked about options as well. Number 1 is the 3-3-4 format, a 3-race round, a 3-race round, and a 4-race round. This would be kind of just a little bit of edits on what we currently have. And of course, the specifics on qualifications, points distributions, all of that, of course, we don't know yet. The second one is a 10-race chase. This has been talked about a lot, is kind of going back to something that maybe some of the younger fans that are around my age like, as well as something that's a nice middle ground. You still have your playoffs, but you have your consistency. It really makes the full season matter still to qualify. And if you have a smaller amount of drivers, 10 to 12, then it makes it really important to perform well all year. A few bad races, you can go from the points lead to outside the top 10. There is that. And the third one, and it's still on the table, season-long points. The traditional way to crown a champion in NASCAR and in the majority of motorsports worldwide when it comes to at least asphalt racing, I guess. And I think there are 3 big, ways to look at all of this. There is the way of saying that, all of these changes won't make a difference. We'll change it anyway. Some of these changes could make a difference and be a long-term solution, or one of these is. Now, I want to go through each one of them real quick, each one of these options. The 3-3-4. To me, this is not the best way to go forward with it, personally. I don't think so. I know that you would expand the sample size, and that's been the big talking point. Kevin Harvick talked about it on his podcast in detail, that there needs to be the biggest sample size possible if you have a playoffs or not. And I think that while having a bigger sample size than 1 race, 4 races simply isn't enough. Look at this last 3-race round. It had a intermediate track in it. It had a super speedway. It had a short track. And that super speedway shuffled things up so much that there was no way that in that last race, or even 2 races for that matter, anyone would have been able to mount a huge points comeback if points are the way they go about it instead of, say, win and advance, which sounds like something that might be on its way out. I don't think 4 races is enough. I don't think 5 races is, especially people keep talking about that. Well, if we have a 4-race finale round, we can have a short track, a super speedway, intermediate, and a road course. I just don't see that being a good way to go about it long term. I think you would get a short-term high with this format. people saying, well, it's better than what we had, so I guess I'm good with it, right? And maybe a year or two, they would like it, right? Like the current system that we have outside of like the stages and stuff that we got in 2014, people weren't as upset with it then. It was once that kind of honeymoon phase wore off, and then it got changed 3 years later. And now it's getting changed again. So I don't think this is the right way forward, because I think in 3 to 5 years, we're going to be right back in this situation, and it's going to be more difficult unless they ensure with like bye weeks that different drivers' points can get ahead in rounds, or an automatic qualification, which I don't like. It's still going to make races not matter for a lot of the best guys out there. It's still going to have a lot of the same problems with the cutoffs and the controversies. It's better, but this I don't think is the right way to go about it. The 10-race chase, on the other hand, this to me is a middle ground. This is the ultimate compromise, if you will, which has been the big word, is compromise, compromise, compromise. And I think this can work for a bit. I don't think the 10-race chase had as many issues as the elimination round chase does, or playoffs. But at the same time, I also think that you're going to have a large amount of fans now who are going to be against any kind of reset. Now, 10 races is at least enough of a sample size that you can look at it and you can say, okay, you probably have at least one, maybe two mulligans that you can have a bad race and you can still have a comeback. For instance, Jimmy Johnson in 2006 crashed out right at the start at New Hampshire, did not have the greatest points runs, at least the next 2 weeks, got spun out of going for the lead at Talladega, and put a massive charge on in the last 6 races of the chase, and well-deserved got a championship out of it. So there is the ability to at least have those storylines, have championship battles. When you look at the 10-race chase, whatever iteration, you look at 04 and the 5-driver battle they had, the best of the best out there. You look at 2006 had a 5-driver battle. You look at Gordon and Jimmy in 07, Edwards and Jimmy in 08, Johnson, Hamlin, Harvick in 10, the Stewart-Edwards greatest finale ever in 2011 for the chase era. There was good out of this era. So I do think that if they do a compromise with this, maybe keep some form of playoff points, rewarding the regular season, this could be something I think a lot of fans could, if not get behind, tolerate and not hate. Now, the season-long format, the traditional way to crown a champion. This is my pick. I have been pretty open about this, and I think this is really grown publicly as the public sentiment, as the top pick fans for the most part are going with. And I know that, yeah, we shouldn't take polls with, a couple hundred votes on it as gospel, but there's polls with 10, 30,000 votes that are voting this to be 50%, and a lot of people saying they'd be fine with it, tolerate it, whatever. I've been saying for a while that I think that NASCAR needs, in my words, to take its medicine. It needs to admit fault, that some things they did weren't right, like leaving North Wilkesboro, leaving Rockingham, things like that, and start to at least get stuff back for the core fans. And I think they've been doing a good job of that. I really do. Now, this whole push of old is new and, going back to our roots, this would be probably the best way to show you're actually serious about that. That it's not just a marketing ploy. It's not something you're just going to say for 2 years and then dump it as soon as people realize you were lying. There's been a lot of talk about it. Do I think it'll happen? Honestly, I will believe it when I see it. I want it to happen. I think it has probably the second best chance of these is happening. I think if you're asking me right now, of the 3 options that we have confirmed left for NASCAR to discuss, how would I rank them? It'd be number 1, 3, 3, 4. I think right below it would be the season long. I think 10-race chase is the lowest option you have right now. And I think NASCAR in this way has put themselves at a crossroads. You have to choose. Are you going to keep the new school way of doing things, or are you going to go back to the old school way, the way that a lot of drivers, a lot of media, a lot of fans have talked about this year? And I don't envy that position, because whatever choice they make, they're going to piss off a large swath of fans. The 10 race chase is probably going to make people on the elimination side that are new over the last 10 years, as well as the traditional side that just want to go back to the way it was. Probably both of them are going to have a lot of fans there that are mad. And the people in the middle, outside of the, like, maybe I'd say 10 to 20% of chase truthers, are probably just going to say, whatever, it's way better than what we had. If you go all the way over here to the season long points format, there are a lot of people that love playoffs in NASCAR. Industry, drivers, fans, there's a lot of them. You're going to have them upset too. There's going to be a lot of people that love this era. And this is a stark change, a rejection of this era if you go all the way to that end. Now, if you go all the way to this end, you do the 3-3-4, I think a lot of people are going to look at that as just being a slight tweak. Now, again, however they award things, when it comes to by race or seeding or whatnot, we'll find out probably in January. We might get some leaks in early to mid-January about that. But I don't think that whatever they choose is going to make everybody happy. I also don't think it's going to be a magic elixir that just makes everything better and we're going to have 10 million people watching every week again. Those days are long gone. Stability right now is probably the main goal for NASCAR. Stop the bleeding, stay stable through this contract, get some leverage for the next one. And, that's where I disagreed with Kevin Harvick on. I think him and I are both on the 36 train. I don't think that the chase and playoff era has necessarily all went downhill viewership-wise and attendance-wise and everything because of those. I think they played a factor in it. I think that maybe in recent years they played a factor in a lot of older fans leaving. But I don't think long-term, I don't think that we lost 80% of our viewership as a sport simply because of that. I think the economy had a lot to do with it early on, the COT. I think that the changing away from old traditional places. I think that the loss of superstars and NASCAR's inability to cultivate more, marketing, all of those play, I think, a bigger role necessarily in the championship. And the reason I say this is because of two things, two different motorsports right now. IndyCar had the championship locked up with Palou. He was amazing. Nobody else deserved to win the championship. And the season finale at a marketable track that fans wanted and have been asking for with an oval got really good viewership for IndyCar standards. Formula One, fastest growing sport in America right now. And I guarantee you they could probably go to 100, 1,000, 10,000 people under the age of 16 right now and show them every driver in the NASCAR field, and then show them whoever is the last 5 in points in F1. And those F1 drivers would be better known than the NASCAR drivers for the most part. So I think that there is a lot to look at with that as well. And I don't think it's going to be a magic fix. This point side of it to me is, how do you make the hardcore base, the people that are competing as well, how do you make them buy in? How do you make them go out there and not every year question the champion? That's the big question with it. That's all I got to say about it. There's plenty more that I'm sure everyone can say. Let me know down below. Now that we have 3 options from the sound of it that are pretty much confirmed to be the options, what one do you think they're going to pick? Let me know down below. All right, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.